Hey everyone, welcome to More Than Meets These Guys. This podcast is a journey through Transformers from the beginning of the animated series with three old friends coming at it from different perspectives. Together, we will go episode by episode with the occasional extra to look at how the show holds up or if it's a trap of nostalgia. We'll be looking at all the things involved in the episode, whether there are real world factors that crept into the writing or the episode is typical afternoon cartoon fodder. I'm Evan, a lifelong fan, is familiar with all aspects of the franchise and the fandom, while Ed he was familiar with it, but he really never got into it. And Jahu is right there in the middle, man. He's a jack of all trades of nerddom, so and also he's a pirate.
And also, I'm a pirate.
Welcome everyone. So Jahu and I were talking about we went and saw Transformers 1. I saw it opening night of the Thursday night in IMAX.
Mhm.
And my gosh, it made me feel so much better the fact I could leave Michael Bay's movies behind because they're terrible.
Right.
It felt like
it actually was good then because the trailer didn't make it.
The trailer's terrible.
Look like something that I could not care less about.
The trailer was really bad at selling it.
Okay.
Yeah. They went the wrong direction. There are some jokes in it, but honestly, it's to me, they're playing on the trope. It's a classic because there's only like so many stories. Which, by the way, if we're going to time travel here, this is going to premiere the following week. This week I'm going to premiere the Simon Furman interview, which it was really cool because we got talking about literary tropes. And he was talking about the idea that there are only so many stories ever written, and every story has been rewritten with different characters. And Transformers 1 was a story about two friends growing up with the same ideals but diverging in very different ways, and
it's
making choices.
So it's X-Men,
or it's Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a trope. It's a trope for a reason, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What if Luke decided to go to the dark side? I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, it's a trope of here are your tools. Make your own destiny. See what decisions you make, and with your decisions plot your future. And it did a great job. It was a really good job. Yeah, a lot darker. That I thought would be.
It's a lot darker than you would think it'd be. I know that I had decided from the trailers not to watch it. The trailers do it a disservice.
Mm-hmm.
But what brought me around was somebody told me, "Oh, Steve Buscemi is playing Starscream."
He was great.
And that is. I would never think of that casting, but it's perfect. Because Steve Buscemi always plays Starscream.
He was so good.
So when you said that, I for some reason when you said Steve Buscemi, I've been on a big comics thing lately. Like I've been trying to dig into old comics, and I was actually before we started recording today, I was listening to a podcast about Grant Morrison, who I love.
Right.
And
Me too.
I will fight till the ends of the earth for Grant Morrison. But when you said Steve Buscemi, I thought for some reason that my brain clocked that as Sal Buscema.
Like, how did you go there?
Like, wow.
I wish. If Sal Buscema even alive, he would have to be at least 90.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe it was John Buscema that I was anyway, it was a Buscema. It was a Marvel artist that I was thinking of. And so when you first said that, I was like, oh, the Buscema, one of the Buscemas did the art for it. Okay, that's cool. And then you're like the voice. I was like, how did they get him to voice it? Is he voice acting? Like
the cool thing is, it is actually it's kind of a retelling of like two different episodes. I'd say War Dawn. It has a lot of elements of War Dawn. Also has a lot of elements of the Search for Alpha Trion. There's like all these elements that are in it. There's so many Easter eggs in the background. You're like, hey, it's Braun. Hey, it's RC. You look at all these characters like, I know that one. I know that one. But it's told from a very different point of view. We're like, okay, we're going to go the direction, even to the I guess kind of the big bad of the movie. I don't think it's kind of a false big bad. Is even something that was from the 86 movie and the season 3. So, I mean, there's so many things that they did, but they use a lot of the Simon Furman lore, which, I was talking to him about it, and he like said, hey man, have you seen this? Get all your lore. What'd you think of it? And he goes, it's not out in the UK yet. I can't see it. I go, I'm sorry. We'll talk to you more about it. But, man, it was really good. The voice acting was, Michael Keegan, I expected a lot of more Key and Peele zaniness, but no, he was great.
Oh man, but the one Key and Peele joke he gets in there,
Yes.
It's so good. It's so soft.
Let's go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was like elbowing my wife, and she's like, I know. That was one of the first jokes we shared together. So I'm like elbowing. She's like, yeah. Man, it went from, like I said, a buddy movie to a very serious, dark, resolution, and it felt very, I don't know, it felt, once again using the trope, it felt very, I don't know if you could say Star Wars, it felt like everyone's seems happy, but are they all really happy? There's something really on the background. So honestly, and I stayed to the very end of the credits. It was a payoff at the very last end of the credits, which it was a great payoff.
Oh, and I saw it with Sarah, who's not a Transformers person at all, and she really enjoyed it.
Yeah, my wife
particularly. Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but when she was asking, "Hey, why is this one character being such a jerk?" and I'm like, "Oh, that's really," and she is like, "Oh," you know what I'm saying? It's a fun movie to watch. And is there any chance you're going to watch it?
Yeah, yeah. It was. If you guys were talking about it, then yeah, I'll watch it.
It's honestly good.
Yeah, you should watch it.
I'll check
an episode on
it out. So
yeah, totally.
I will say that we need some. We have some housekeeping to take care of though, and that one of your recurring jokes on here, Evan, that you constantly call Ironhide Chris Christopherson bot.
Oh no, that's Trailbreaker.
You call him Chris Christopherson bot.
I'll put you off a force field.
Passed away yesterday.
Yes, he did.
So R.I.P. Voice touchstone.
And
yeah, man, I mean that's a classic country, voice gone.
Also in the movie Millennium, which is a surprisingly really good movie that I used to catch on cable a lot and really dug.
I would go with he's the sexiest man from the 70s. I know a lot of people would probably go with Travolta, but I mean, if you're including the whole 70s aesthetic in it, he's the guy.
I gotta go Tom Skerritt from Alien.
It's pretty
70s looking dude, man.
If Tom Skerritt was a bigger dude and a little gruffier, that's why I think Chris Christopherson gets it, because he's bigger, he's a little more gruff. And I mean, dude, he still had it in Blade as Whistler.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Dude, Blade's so good.
He made that movie to me.
Blade is so good.
The best Marvel movie.
Unbelievable how good that
it is the best Marvel movie.
Ed, I was about to call you out on, that's just contrarian Ed stuff, but I think you might be onto something.
Look, I'm on record as saying that I just don't really care I think the Marvel movies, for the most part, are kind of dull and they're not really for me. But I'll concede that there are some of them that are good. Like the first Iron Man is good. The first and second Captain Americas are good. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is good. I'm kind of hard pressed to think of another good one after that. As far as the movie go.
I really enjoy the first and third Thor a lot.
I'm
not looking for high art. I'm looking for something that's fun. I mean, the Avengers Endgame is fun. I mean, I get hyped up. You can't tell me when they start opening the portals behind him, and he's like Steve standing there in the battlefield. Spoiler alert, everyone, for like a 3 or 4 year old movie at this point. God, it's probably 10 years old.
I think it's closer to 10 at this point.
Yeah, so that scene where all the portals start opening behind him, and Falcon's like, on your left, dude. I don't care who you are. If that doesn't get you hyped up, that's like listening to my favorite song from Sponge called named Plowed. I can listen to them every single time, and I was like, man, I want to do something.
See, I felt like that movie was those last two Avengers movies. I felt like somebody was throwing handfuls of Skittles at my face for 3 hours. Is how I felt, and I don't really like things thrown at my face.
But I mean, if it was a different candy, if it was Reese's Pieces, I could get on board. I've never been a huge fan of Skittles.
That's Dune, though. It's just tan and brown and orange. That's true. That's true. Which I'm okay with. I'm a fan of Dune. I'm a fan of Reese's Pieces.
Did you watch Guardians 3?
No, I haven't seen Guardians 3.
You should watch Guardians 3 just because, I got weepy in it.
I
And
heard,
I
I
was
know,
like,
I heard that in your podcast.
Yeah,
and
same here.
I thought for a second, I was like, oh, this is because Ronald Reagan broke my brain. This is just,
Well, he did. He
because
did.
I identify more with things on the screen than things in my real life. But then I looked over and it had messed Sarah up too. So,
Okay.
so I think it's genuine and emotional movie.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I heard a lot about that.
so I have some news though, and I know
Mm.
I've been on record on this entire podcast saying that I don't buy toys because I don't know what I'm going to do with them because
Right?
they're not Warhammer figures and I can't play a game with them. But yesterday I bought an action figure. I bought the
What
first
did you
action
buy?
figure for myself that I've bought in many, many years. I bought a Misfits Crimson Ghost action figure.
Well,
I was
that's
really into
cool.
I was really into this thing.
That's legit for you.
They made like 20 of them, and I couldn't pick which one I wanted. I was like, I'm just gonna buy one of these to put on my shelf, and I
Dude,
couldn't pick which one I wanted.
guess how
I
many of these guys there are? I guess how many bumblebees there are. 20 would be nice. There's probably like 50 of those things.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
those
this
are
thing
those,
is
those
this
have
guy
been
is
released
great, by the
over
way.
the
This
years. They've
Studio
been released over the
86.
years. You've had 40 years to accumulate this. This was like getting every Misfits thing thrown at me at one time. This was like getting more Skittles thrown in my face.
You
40
like
years of
Skittles?
no Misfits and then 20 Misfits.
And then 20 Misfits. Yeah,
I think
exactly. Well,
we've
now
all
they're the punk rock Kiss.
They
Those
100%
yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah.
those Super 7 figures are very cool. I like those. I like those figures a lot. And we talked the other day, I think on the last episode about how cool the Danzig ones are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they made Conan the Barbarian ones like that. Have you seen these?
Mm-mm.
Yes, I have one on pre-order.
It's like it's all come full circle because He-Man was a knockoff of Conan, and now there's
Well,
you can
repurposing, but yeah.
get a Conan that's just a ripoff of He-Man.
Right.
What was
And
that?
it 100% looks like a John Buscema drawing. Like I love
So yeah, but so
Yeah,
yeah, I just want to let you guys know I'm on the slippery slope, and I'll probably have 60 reaction figures here pretty soon. So
well, they're
Super
great.
7 is the Me TV of action figures.
Mm. I only one I have is a Jason, not Jason Voorhees, God, a Michael Myers. It's the only one I have.
Right on.
And it just kind of hangs out in my pencil jar. I don't know why. But yeah, so we learned a lot already today. We've learned that Ed thinks about skills being thrown in his face a lot. I've never heard of the expression, but now I cannot see it. Because thank you for that. Anyone else has opinions about that? Ed hates Transformers at gmail.com. Let's hear about it.
Mail some Skittles to me.
Yeah. Well, like what kind of Skittles? The red originals? You and the sours, the wild berries?
I don't like sour candy.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh man, Ed, this is one of those things me and you are flip sides of the coin on.
Well, that's
I
fine.
love sour candy.
All right, well, that's the end of the podcast, guys. We gotta go.
When we go to the movies, you can have all the sour candies, and I'll take all the Reese's Pieces. So, when we go see Dune 3 in years,
Well, I mean, if we're going to see Dune, we're getting Reese's
we're
Pieces.
getting Reese's Pieces, right? Yes. So,
Yeah. Speaking of pieces and stuff that people love.
hold on, stop.
What?
It would be wise if we got a big back of Reese's Pieces. I'll tell you what else is wise is David Wise, who wrote the episode.
See, this is why you do the
Express.
transitions, man. This is why you do the transitions.
He goes to me. I'll do the transitions.
Well, dude, I don't know. I don't know what you're thinking.
I mean, if you don't try.
Yeah,
try.
the do or do not. So I
Right.
hear. So yeah, this is another David Wise banger. And this is the one that a long time ago, Jahu was like, I gotta be on for it. And we just
Right.
kept going. It was like, well, it'll be eventually. So here we are. We're finally at the David Wise banger. And this is one of those episodes I never remember. But when I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. This is like Raiders of the Lost Ark meets Transformers meets like Fast and Furious or something. I don't know.
I was gonna say this is 100% Raiders meets the Cannonball Run.
Oh, it's even better. Yeah, 100% that.
Yeah, this is my all-time favorite episode. And we'll talk about a lot of why it is as we get into the story of it. But a little while ago, me and my buddy Zach were talking about the newest Indiana Jones movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we both agreed it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. It's not ruining anybody's childhood. It's not as good as the first three, but it's fine.
No.
Um, he said that it ranks fourth on his list, and I said
Ooh.
no. I rank Crystal Skull above this one because of the things missing with George Lucas and Steven Spielberg not being there. And he was like, name one thing. And my thing was cool names. Uh, George Lucas makes up the coolest names on earth. All three of us 100% know the names of two non-speaking characters in the cantina.
Yeah.
And why this one stuck with me is there's three incredibly cool names in this episode that we'll talk about as we get.
Yeah. Okay. There are. I know. I can do it right now. I don't know the third one. We'll get into that.
We'll have to talk about Crystal Skull later on because I don't care for Crystal Skull, but not for the reasons that you think I don't. I don't care for Crystal Skull.
There's a real particular reason
I would love to talk about it because I've had a whole cycle with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm actually because of your whole feeling with movies. I want to watch Spider-Man 3 again and see if I like it any better.
I like Spider-Man 3.
Well, no, Jay loves it.
I love it. I think
I haven't watched it since I watched it in the theater, so kind of curious.
Yeah, it's better than any of the Marvel ones.
It definitely has more personality than a lot of them.
It has a lot of that.
Yeah.
That third Marvel Spider-Man is the worst movie that I've ever seen. It is tied with like Short Circuit for the worst movie I've ever seen.
We're off the rails on this episode,
man.
Hey, so this
I'm gonna just cut it off here because we're just not seeing eye to eye here, man.
I mean, when we got to Short Circuit 3, I was like, we're off the chain.
So yeah, man. Okay, this is like you said, a David Wise banger, and this Megatron barrels into this. It looks like a mosque.
Bro, we start off in the Middle East, man. Yeah. Okay, and this is real world factors are all over this episode to this to literally today.
But hey, also modern day factors because there's a lot of talk in Istanbul in this, and there's a lot of talk about Istanbul with our New York mayor right now. So
you are correct. Well, I don't know if you guys saw the news today, but there was a big invasion of Lebanon today. So
I have not seen that.
Oh yeah. So Megatron is looking for something. He's interrogating these Middle Eastern gentlemen here who have these thick cartoon villain accents. These are guys who are like extras from Aladdin.
Right. We know one thing about Transformers. They've always treated the Middle Eastern characters really well and very good.
I would at least give them the softball that they don't really treat anybody well.
No, they don't.
I mean, their idea of white middle America is Sparkplug and Spike, and those guys are annoying.
Their idea of a New Yorker is Raoul.
Right.
Though I gotta say, man, this guy's voice, I thought it was the guy giving the box to Frank in Hellraiser. I'd take the box. It was yours already. And that's this guy in there. He's saying like, I've been waiting for this.
Right.
The Pearl of Bodine.
Before that, though, like Megatron's trying to find the location of this thing, right? So he asks the guy, and this guy has a super thick accent, and then he shoots at him, and then the guy loses his entire accent. He's all like, "Oh, you're looking for this place? It's over by the mosque, over by the other place, by the herb stand." And he became a regular dude.
So it is buried in the Galata Valley near the Alabay River. That's where it's at. By the way, which is a real place. It's a district in Istanbul.
I found some cool stuff about that also. But
not special now.
But he says he tells Megatron to go to Draymond Street, and that sounds so familiar to me, and I cannot place why. Do you guys have any clues on Draymond?
It sounded familiar to me too because it was such like a address. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, I was thinking of the Mr. Drummond from what's that show?
Different Strokes.
Different Strokes. Thank you. That's all I thought about.
Yeah. But he tells him to go to this street and buy an herb vendor and beside the Mosque of Salim. Okay, so Salim ruled the Ottoman Empire from 1566 to 1574. Okay, and there is a Mosque of Salim, but it's not in Istanbul. It's northeast. It's almost on the Greek border out of town there. But this mosque is massive. This thing is like Taj Mahal size. It is like a feat of architecture, and you cannot miss this thing. It is a tourist attraction. It's like like a UNESCO, whatever, like heritage site. It is a famous thing, and this being like the footnote of directions is absolutely insane. I mean, the location notwithstanding, but it's like telling somebody like, okay, you're gonna go to the Sbarro and turn left, and there's a shoe shine stand, and then you're gonna turn there, and then right next to that, right by the Empire State Building, there's the place you're looking for.
A Sbarro, really?
Right. You could have just opened with the Empire.
You could have just said by the Empire State Building.
Easy to find.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a blue trailer. You turn there, and then you turn again, and underneath that, there's like you'll see the place there, but you can look up and you see Mount Rushmore there.
Right.
Okay. So this was pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah. And after Megatron gets all the information, he doesn't leave through the hole already made in the side. He makes a new hole and leaves.
He breaks a new hole. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Bam is the other side.
And again, in the Transformers universe, there's some really high ceilings.
Yeah.
Everything accommodates a Transformer. That's the thing. You got to build to a Transformer.
Actually, that kind of makes sense. I was watching the Fellowship of the Ring with Alice the other day. She loves that movie so much. We were looking at the dwarven halls, and we're like, why are they so tall? Dwarves are so short. Where's the reason to have such huge halls? There's no reason for it.
Right. If you're little bitty guys, right.
I don't know. Is it ostentatious for a reason? Yeah. So here we are.
I would assume that they were natural caves, but a lot of it, remember that they had been mining for like thousands of years at this point too. It was possible that they just like gradually like mined it away or whatever. But
that's a good explanation.
Sure. Give me the no prize. Right. So they go find this old Swami looking guy. They get the directions to this pearl. What was it? The Pearl of what?
Pearl of Bahudin.
The Pearl of Bahudin. This is one of those names I was talking about. I thought of this MacGuffin at least once a week, every day since like 1985. I don't know why it stuck with me, but I will always remember the Pearl of Bahudin. If I had any money and anybody cared, it might be my rosebud on my deathbed.
You're gonna let some words out of your mouth. Bahudin. What is that? Yeah, so man, it's kind of a cool trope, trope MacGuffin. It feels like an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah,
it totally does.
Oh, and he gives him like the indie, the indie warning. If you get it, you might not be able to put it back,
dude.
And they're both like, whatever, dude.
Like, I'm just gonna go get it. Like we need an archaeologist, and so Soundwave goes up to a cliff and he's broadcasting circles. We're back to the roots, guys. We're like This is like when Radiohead made "Hail to the Thief." We're back up. We're out of the synthesizers. We're back to the guitars. This is cool. I'm good.
Man, I love the name of the archaeologist they had to find though.
Dr. Terra Nova.
New Earth. Dr. New Earth.
Dude, if I never had an interest in math rock, but if I ever joined a math rock band, it was going to be called Dr. Terra Nova.
He looks like the Ancient Aliens guy too.
Right.
They don't even get it. They don't find him though, right? Because we just cut from here like to the race.
The Europa 2000 at the Triumph.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a race. They're going to race from Paris to Istanbul. So out of curiosity, I was wondering how far it is from Paris to Istanbul, if it actually is 2,000 units of anything. And it is. It's 1,700 miles. If you
right.
So
I kind of figured a racing nerd was involved in this. And I think that nerd is probably why Mirage is the only like fast car that's not in this episode.
What is with that?
Yeah, I think because probably someone was like, well, an Indy car wouldn't be in that race. We got to get the geography eventually, but we'll get there because there's a lot going on here that doesn't make sense.
But we got some cool cars though. On the starting line, we got some cool cars. We got like a an old school Mini Cooper. There's a '70s Honda Civic in there, and then there's one that just has a bunch of chicken wire on the front, like it came in from like a Mad Max movie.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw this
Race
go.
2000.
Again, I always like it when you can tell they're having fun. And whoever drew the Mad Max car was having fun.
Yeah, I'm just gonna draw a grate on the front.
But we get to another name here, man. Auggie Cahnay.
Auggie Cahnay. This dude rules.
Auggie Cahnay is a great name. He's such a great character. Like, he just does not care at all that the Transformers are a big deal. He's going to be a jerk to them like he is to everybody else.
The funny thing about him, though, is there's a reference to him in one of the later Transformer shows. It was Car Robots in Japan. Over here, it's called Red, the 2001 Robert.
Right.
Yeah, they basically referenced him in relation to why a certain Transformer was the way he was. Like, it was part of his personality. So yeah, Auggie Cahnay got more recognition before Spike did in these later shows.
Right.
And Spike did a lot.
Right. Dude, he's a 70s anime character. He has 70s anime hair.
He does.
Like he acts like a 70s anime rogue. I like this. But also, he's got a racing jacket. Okay, well, he has a helmet that just says racer on the front of it. That's like if you were a football player and it just said player across the front. That's cool. But this is really cool. He has a racing jacket with a giant A on it. So he's basically like Laverne from Laverne and Shirley. He's got his initiative everywhere. This is cool. I'm down.
Yeah. This dude is like a speed racer villain. It's great.
He is.
100%. That's what I was going to say. He's like a speed racer villain, but he gets, he's more than a villain in this.
Yes. Auggie Cahnay, who Speed really doesn't know, this is his third cousin from his mother's side.
I thought of that same thing. So,
it's so good. But dude, man, he is pissed that they're going to ride with the Transformers. He's like, dude, they got robot brains. That's not fair.
They're not even real cars.
Yeah. Something I thought during this, can you just decide something's not charity? Like, if it's for charity, you say, okay, but if I win it, I'm going to keep it. I don't think you can do that. But Auggie Cahnay thinks you can.
Well, he's Auggie Cahnay.
He's Auggie Cahnay, man. Like,
I want to know, is it like spelled like the, do you remember that white wine, the Italian wine called Cahnay? Is it spelled like that? Canei? Auggie Cahnay. I wish it was.
I have Googled Auggie Cahnay more times than a healthy person should, and I will just say there is discourse on how the spelling should be. I don't know if there's an official spelling.
You probably Googled his name more than anyone else has, including David Wise. But yeah, so man, this race gets going, and they have Bumblebee in the race.
Hold on. So when the race starts, the dude comes out with the starting pistol, and they must have hired Dirty Harry, because this thing was a hand cannon that he shot in the air. This thing was massive, dude. Like he pulled out like
Magnum.
Dude, it was like the RoboCop gun. This thing was massive. I don't know. The dude probably broke his arm shooting this thing.
It was like a wide shot too, and there was no problem making out that was a giant pistol.
It was massive. Like, yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. Something else from this that is sort of a question I had last podcast. Why are all the second year Autobots Frasier? Trax is Frasier too. He's like worse than Frasier. He's like one of the white guys at the country club in Trading Places. Dude, he talks like this. Oh, how revolting!
You remind me of those dudes that would always talk with their jaws clenched. Like that's how you can tell like a rich dude's name. It was like Gregory Evans the Third. You don't have to open your mouth to say it. And
the beauty is
sweater tied across his.
And I think that's wrong, because Trax should talk like a redneck. He should be like about as redneck as Ironhide.
Yeah. I mean, really, if he's a Corvette, he should probably sound like Jimmy Buffett or something like that.
Yeah. Oh man,
some boomer dad is what he.
Right.
But he says Auggie Cahnay, the best way possible in the entire episode.
He
Auggie.
says it with such disdain. Auggie Cahnay. He sounds like the Great Kazoo. Dum dum.
Oh my God, he does. Dum dum. Oh, that would have been the best thing ever if he just
Maybe
said dum
even
dum
a
once.
little bit throwback Paul Lind.
as as our friend Wu has said, you are the Paul Lind of podcasts.
Oh man.
Oh jeez. Okay.
They just found an archaeologist.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even depict this in the story. They just have him.
Yeah.
They went to Yelp and like, they're Dr. Terra Nova. That sounds awesome. Let's get this guy.
Pick this dude out of like DC's like House of Mysteries. This dude's like looks like Cain and or Abel from.
He does look kind of like Cain and Abel, 100%.
Oh yeah.
So something I want to. Do you guys take notes when you watch these, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever take a note and then it's immediately void?
Yes.
Because right around here, I basically said something to the effect of, "Hey, everybody's not an idiot this episode. Nobody's doing anything dumb to move the plot forward." And then they let Dr. Terra Nova escape.
They're just talking.
Right. They're just talking. And let me tell you something. For a husky, bookish type, Dr. Terra Nova is spry. He makes it up that hill quick.
Ancient Aliens guy goes fast. He scurries. But who finds him? Was it like Blue Streak finds him or
Blue Streak finds him?
Yeah.
And this is my only knock on this episode. I don't recognize Blue Streak's right to exist.
Oh, okay. You're talking about notes that become irrelevant. Like I have a note in this one. Who is this gray 280ZX?
Right.
It's Blue Streak.
I'm on record saying that I saw the blue streak action figure when I was a kid. I'll fight every one of you Transformers fans.
Well, I mean,
the Berenstain Bears are spelled EIN also.
No, it's AIN. Everyone knows that.
You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, repaints are part of the game.
Mhm.
But if you're going to get me to buy a toy twice, it has to have a purpose and a personality to make me do that. With Ratchet, he's the doctor. He's a personality. I mean, with a purpose. With Ironhide, he's the salty old coot. He's the Festus to Optimus Prime's Matt Dillon. So those guys, I recognize their right to exist, but there's no need for Blue Streak. He doesn't do anything that Prowl doesn't, and Prowl's cooler because he's a cop car.
Oh, the smoke screen's cooler also because he has numbers on him.
Right, exactly.
And he's also he's blue.
And I mean, and also, Kid Brain, he's not blue.
Yeah.
Why would you have a character Blue Streak who doesn't even have a blue streak?
Because he speaks a Blue Streak. He doesn't stop talking.
But they don't even use that in this because they just use Cliff Jumper's voice.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, you're not. Dude, when this guy gets released with like glammy vacuum sealed gold paint as G2 Bumblebee, I will get him too.
Right. I'm with you.
I mean, like, give it to me now.
Speaking of Bumblebee, the race is on, and Bumblebee stops and transforms and gets mad that Auggie is driving like a dick. So he's essentially me when I'm walking my dog. He's just slow down, turn your brights down. This is me every day. And so I'm very much here. I'm here for his cause. I feel for Bumblebee, and it sucks.
Yeah, Bumblebee's nerdishness like overlapped with mine in that too, because I'm the same way anytime I'm driving down Kim Strand Road. This is not a highway; it's a 2-lane road.
I hate Kim Strand Road so much.
Speaking of dudes that drive like a dick, though, we get the Stunticons here. And this is cool. Like we've had combiners in like all these episodes lately. This is awesome.
My note for this part was, man, they love saying Stunticons.
They do.
They say Stunticon a lot.
They just love it, and it's a cool name.
I gotta say, they brought these Stunticons out in Legacy. They're great. They're good size.
They're big, man. Do they combine?
Yeah, they combine.
Combine into
Minnesota. Yes, they do. They're
So
great.
do you have that Legacy Motormaster?
Yeah, I do. Is in the other room.
Oh, he's so handsome.
He is
He's a little
very
gentleman.
handsome.
Yeah.
He is a swarthy gentleman. Is what he is. Who talks like mud. Harcourt mud.
He talks like someone who has a Chris Christopherson 8-track in his truck.
Oh, he does.
He probably does have
drink
one.
it and just
He
drink
probably
it
has one in himself.
In himself,
drink
because he is a truck. Good
Right.
point, Ed.
He listened to his 8-track Chris Christopherson and just drank a case of Busch Light. And he's like having a conversation, seeing his kids.
Right.
That's him.
So,
Motormaster.
like I've been kind of chronicling the ads that I get on YouTube watching this show, and they haven't been They haven't been as bad lately as they have been. I don't know if there was something that was wrong for a few weeks where it was just the ad algorithm was just out of control and just every 2 minutes was showing an ad. It hasn't been bad, but right here in this one, it did get an ad for Tijuana Flats, where it has a tin robot and a Yeti action figure, like talking about street tacos, and man. I love street tacos, and I really want those now. You seeing that in my notes now? It reminded me of that, and I haven't eaten dinner yet, and so like I'm gonna go get these, and y'all finish up.
That totally sounds like advertising that could work on me.
I know. I want that right now.
I enjoy being a market.
Go get the Campechanos, man, for El Asador. Every time I'm in Pensacola, I get those things because they're
been to El Asador.
Oh my God.
This is why I never saw Ghostbusters when until I was
Oh my God. If you like street tacos, go to El Asador and get you 4 Campechanos and get the brown sauce.
You got a food truck that's parked next to a dumpster.
Doesn't matter.
All food trucks are parked next to dumpsters. That's part of it.
Oh yeah,
you will be in line with a lawyer, with a guy from working on roofs, and a guy who is like came off that night crew at Walmart, and they are all in line talking to each other because they're about to get amazing food.
Okay, so to explain this for the listeners who don't know what we're talking about, because we have 8 listeners that'll know what we're talking about there. El Asador is a food truck in Pensacola, Florida was voted the #2 taco place in the country recently.
Right.
For some reason, I've just never been there. So
okay. I mean, probably because of where it is, and it's kind of hard to get in and out of.
It's in a street that I don't like to go to, and it's not a part of that street that I really don't like to go to.
Right.
I actually went and got a quart of their brown sauce to take back with me to Auburn because it is spicy. It's so spicy it'll burn you a day later. I can't get enough of it. I get the sweats whenever I have tacos from there, but it's so good. I don't care. It's a life-changing experience. Campechanos as asada and I believe it's tongue.
Okay,
so good. Dude, I want them right now.
I don't know which Stunticon did this though, but one of them like ran in front of the Autobots and transformed and pulled a gun out, and I think it was the maroon one.
Dead end.
Yeah,
it was dead end. Yeah, and he's like, "Say hello to the champion," and his delivery of champion was real good. It was very much like an '80s wrestling ring announcer. And, I was here for that.
It's my favorite Stunticon, man. I'm loving it.
I liked that scene because it had the twins in it. It had Sunstreaker and and what's the other one? Sideswipe. Yeah, I've always thought those guys weren't used enough.
They weren't, and also together. And like Sideswipe is pissed off the Sunstreakers and made him take a shortcut somewhere, and they ended up on the road together by themselves. Like, come on, man! Like he took us out of here, and no other cars are around them, so the Stunticons show up after them. They're like the least problematic ones. They're the ones not near the finish line, but Stunticons show up there.
You gotta take all of them out. You gotta take get all the variables off the table.
And by the way, the Stunticons have been alive for like 2 weeks at this point. Are the Autobots bummed that they're so much better at driving than them? Because they are.
They are. They are the MVPs since they showed up.
Right.
They're fantastic.
Motormaster even does Motormaster does like a super fast Snuka body splash off onto Wheeljack and just like flattens him out. This was cool.
The only thing Wheeljack says is "ow,
ow." He was totally wrecked.
Yeah, he was bad.
I think my favorite one on this was when Blue Streak gets on top of one of the Stunticons. I'm not sure which one.
I can't think of which one it is at the moment.
But the Stunticon runs into a cave and Blue Streak runs into a wall, And then the Stunticons just like, okay, that took care of that. Like, what did he think? He
Drives off.
disintegrated?
Yeah.
Like he didn't think to look up.
The Stunticons aren't the
They're good at
smartest either.
driving. They're not good at thinking.
Yeah, they're really not good at thinking.
I think that was Wild Rider because he's the gray one with the red windows. And that's a real cool color scheme. Like I want to steal that for like
It is a real cool color scheme.
Yeah.
Showing off
Yeah.
my toys here. They honestly, this quickly becomes the episode for Blue Streak, even though I know it's paying you both.
Yeah.
He's become
he's
like
not blue. He's not blue. It's annoying.
I mean, this one is his time to shine. I don't
It
even
is.
think he got really focused in season 1 at all.
no, he really didn't show up until like I think season 2, didn't he? Maybe not. I don't know.
No,
Okay.
he's a
he
No,
was
he
in
was
season
in season
he's a
one.
year 1
You're right.
Transformer. I just don't think he gets featured much.
Yeah, he was underused a lot. I remember he was there. These is the one Transformer that my ex-wife, you know Jahu and Ed, she kept the Blue Streak because I got her one at a BotCon and it was a Japanese box of stuff. I'm like, all right, you can take it. I lost Blue Streak in the divorce.
Oh.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, but it was actually hers, so I can't say too much.
that still sucks though. They focus on tracks a lot for a little bit here, and something I always liked tracks because I've talked about how I liked him because of the toy. That was one of the cooler Transformers like
Yeah.
toys, from the 80s. But I never really realized how much he looks like a 1970s Japanese super robot. Like he's got like a lot of design cues from like Mazinger Z and like Radine and all these guys. For he's got the red face and
Right.
Yeah, I can see that.
the diagonal like wings and fins and
He's
stuff.
the most unique looking of the season 2 Autobots for sure.
He's cool.
Well,
He's a cool
and
guy.
also the fact that he would have like the winged mode is very like 70s giant robot thing.
Oh yeah.
That is straight out of some like some of those like tinfoil costume live action Japanese shows.
Right. Right.
That's some Common
Almost.
Rider stuff.
Yeah. I can see like a show with like a dude that like drives like some Japanese version of like Knight Rider where he gets.
I was going to say that. It's
That
like
would
the Japanese Sentai version of Knight Rider. You would love that show so much.
And that would be pretty cool.
Auggie Cahnay would be a villain.
Right.
Yeah, or just the recurring rogue. He would
Right.
He shows up and does some stuff and then he leaves. Like,
He's like the involuntary helper of the good guys. He wants to be a bad guy, but he ends up helping them all the time.
Right.
Yeah, I can see
the
it.
sort of ongoing rival that's really part of the crew.
and then he just joins up eventually and like
Right.
kind of like Hawkman from Buck Rogers.
Right.
Yeah.
When he went to the good side, it was like Hawkman's with Buck now.
And he's the best character of the show.
Hawkman was really cool.
That guy was a soap opera actor, you know.
Oh,
You
sure.
think?
He was,
I bet
he was on One Life to Live as a villain for years.
Oh yeah, who was he? Did he have a cool name on there?
I can't remember his name in real life is Tom Christopher. I'm trying to pronounce the H in there.
Yeah, I was just saying,
'Cause it's a
make sure his name
THOM
has an H
Tom.
in it.
Yeah.
Tom.
But
yeah.
I can't remember what his name was on One Life to Live, but he was a cool villain.
It wasn't
that is-
Robert Scorpio, the best name of in the history of soap operas.
Yeah.
Of course. That is the best name ever.
It's the best name in the history of
Yeah,
soap operas.
this is the only Venn diagram nerd podcast where you go into wrestling and soap opera so heavy.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
I think someone should go back and rank who's got us the most off track on this episode.
oof.
Because
That's hard.
Trigger can do that. Trigger will do that. Trigger
We're Stunticons in this episode.
Oh,
We're
God.
just flying over things into the next.
No.
Hey, so you want to go even more off track? There was an ad for the new John Wick movie. Have you guys seen the new John Wick?
The ballerina.
Ballerina. The
Oh,
new
yeah.
John- I haven't seen John Wick 4 yet. I
Neither have
haven't
I.
watched John Wick 3 yet. And I don't need any more John Wick movies because the first one was so good that just I had to redo the ranking of the action movies because I was
So-
like, that just came out of nowhere. That was so good.
How many Jason Bourne movies did you watch?
Just the first one.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Well, I guess you're one and done. You're Raiders of the Lost Ark. You're done.
With John Wick though, it was like I feel like they even like they have the TV show now and all this stuff, and it just kind of strays away from what the was about. It's gonna get real fast and furious. I'm gonna tell you, he's gonna go to space.
Oh, please.
Well, I will say the TV show is garbage, and it's garbage because portraying a young Ian McShane, and
Oh,
that's a fallacy. That never
yeah.
existed.
He's
No,
never
Ian
young.
McShane looked the same 40 years ago as he does today.
no, he's like Arn Anderson.
Yeah, right, exactly. Oh, um, but I will watch this thing because I think that chick is awesome. Anna de Armas or whatever.
Yeah.
She was in the last Bond movie, so I'll watch it for her.
Yeah, I think she was in Knives Out also. I was a big
She
fan of
was,
Oh,
Knives
yes.
Out.
those are great movies.
Yeah.
The Glass Onion and Knives Out. Love those.
I like Glass Onion better than Knives Out.
Different ways. There's some different things about it. I like the social commentary of Glass Onion more than Knives Out.
I saw
Yeah,
it before. I saw Glass Onion first for some reason, and then I saw Knives Out. But
Man, what is with you?
I saw Ghostbusters 2 before I saw Ghostbusters 1.
Okay. Once again, we're into the podcast. This is it. We're done. The happy slime, or yeah, no,
Hey,
we're yeah.
do you guys remember when you were in like first grade and like Christmas came around and the teacher would like wanted to go outside and like smoke or whatever, so she would like make you guys make like Christmas ornaments and just put a bunch of styrofoam balls and glitter and glue and stuff all over this table, and like every
100%.
kid was covered in glitter or whatever. That is exactly what the pearl looks like from in this episode. It's like it's just a ball that somebody painted gold with glitter and glued a bunch of other stuff onto it.
Oh God, yeah. Well, that's my headcanon now. Thanks. It does. It looks like they took like a I don't know, like a Nerf ball and stuffed diamonds into it. It's just the weirdest looking thing. Apparently, though, that was a cover that someone made, a solid gold cover for the actual pearl.
Yeah, we got some backstory. We got a flashback.
There was continuity-ish in this episode.
That very vague continuity. Yeah. But yeah, so we go through all the Autobots, getting like waylaid by the Stunticons, but there's only one Autobot who actually scanned the Stunticons, and that was your boy Trux. He thought to scan them. He's like, those aren't just cars, those are Stunticons. And I gotta hand it to him, man. Him and Bumblebee were like, oh, they're on top of things. So
Bumblebee did a lot. Yeah, Bumblebee actually low-key did a lot in this episode.
he was the hero, I would say.
He was the most worthy of the position he gets stuck in this one, which I think this would be a good point to point out something that's very strange about this episode. No Optimus Prime, no Starscream.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Guys who are in almost every episode, neither of them show up.
They don't even talk about the Optimus Prime in this one.
It was Megatron and Soundwave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Rumble.
Well, Rumble, yeah,
for
of
a
course.
minute. And then just the Crashicons.
So I gotta say though, I was really happy that Dead End actually did the whole like zero G, flipping over. He like flies from a standing drive. He did it once in the episode. Like they never done that again.
Right.
So I'm happy with that.
Right.
So it turns out that the thing that the Pearl is like a weather dominator. So it's
didn't we do the Weather Dominator last week?
I
feel like we just did the Weather Dominator.
I feel like we did another G.I. Joe recycled plot last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, these guys once again, Transformers does in one episode what G.I. Joe does in 5. Which is
but man,
it's fine.
I love the G.I. Joe, the Weather Dominator episodes. They're so good. That first whole season of G.I. Joe, where there would be like a 5-part miniseries, like the Pyramid of Darkness, and all that stuff is so good.
I agree totally.
Oh man, and the Baroness in that Pyramid of Darkness, the green shaded eyeglasses and like the Cobra outfit, so good. That was like a perfect Baroness.
What I love most about the Pyramid of Darkness is when they find shipwreck in the desert.
Yes.
And then like, oh, this is our sailor. Here's
and
our
a Cobra bar
who we found in the desert, as far from the sea as he could possibly be.
In a Cobra bar.
Right.
This guy might not be the best sailor, guys. I'm just saying. If he might not be the best at what he does.
And his parent will tell you, We're sailor, and yeah, he's in the middle of the desert in a Cobra bar, and they're like, yeah, this is our guy. He's gonna be part of GI Joe. I love early GI Joe so much.
Yeah.
Though I think my favorite of later of season one was Worlds Without End. It seemed very Star Trek the original series plot line.
Is it that one where they go to an alternate dimension?
Yes.
Yes, and they like leave three characters there. It was kind of
Yeah.
heavy.
A
Yeah,
breaker
like Steeler, I think, stays.
Yeah.
Steeler stays. Yeah,
He was in love.
he
He
gets
was in love with the Baroness.
yeah, and but all
Yeah.
the GI Joes over there are dead. They find their skeletons on their dog
Yeah.
tags.
Yeah.
It was great.
I want to go back and watch that.
It really holds up. I watched it recently. Worlds Without End. Anyways,
So Megatron is just like throwing lightning around, and this is real cool. I like so, but then like things moved really fast in this episode, like real fast. It was just like we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and this happens, and it was just like it was like getting Skittles thrown in my face.
oh, we completely skipped over where Auggie had his car stolen and like got a blue streak. He's like, "Let me drive. I'm better
That's
than
what I'm
you."
saying. It was like so many things happened so fast. It was like this machine gun pace of like this could have been like 3 episodes, I think.
I mean, and Augie's remember his whole point was, oh, you guys can drive better than me because you're robots. But then he gets in, he's like, no, you can't drive. That's just some stuff I was saying. I'm
Yeah.
gonna drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to figure out why the Stunticons have stolen Augie's car. His weird looking like Blade Runner car thingy. No, actually, it looks like a one of those futuristic Hot Wheels cars you see with like didn't make any sense, but
Right.
it's futuristic. Yeah, but yeah. So Auggie, Bumblebee, and Trax like pull to the finish line, and like there's a whole controversy. Well, Augie's driving Blue Streak. Who's winning? And Blue Streak wins, and but they keep going.
They
Blue
just keep
Streak
going.
won this race. Like Datsun 280ZX won this race.
Yeah, they
And
did.
a Volkswagen Bug was a
Volkswagen
close
Bug.
contender.
Came in second. Yeah.
Yeah.
With a Corvette. There was like cars built for this. Like rally
Mhm.
cars like built for this. Like here. And then these dudes are what won. So
Yeah,
but
I'm
so
mad about it.
Bumblebee gets the he gets the pearl, and like Megatron is like using it, and he just stands completely still while Bumblebee runs up him and grabs it and runs away, and then he freaks out about it. And this was funny, but
He
he
drives
like
up.
takes it. He takes it and splits it. And he goes into this big like Frank Frazetta like holding the sword up pose.
Yes.
It's like, oh, this is cool. And the second that it happened, I get an ad.
Oh,
No, you messed up. You messed up the Frazetta pose. No, I was so into the Frazetta. So, yeah.
so yeah,
But
it starts causing storms and going crazy and like electrocuting all the Stunticons.
I thought we were going to
This
get
week also proves again that the Constructicons are union.
Oh yeah, totally. They
Because
left.
they built
They're done.
everything and then they were done. They fired a few shots in the beginning of the fight and then they just disappeared.
People are like, oh no, that's overtime. You want me to stay? Okay, I'm leaving then.
See, I thought that we were going to get a whole episode with 2 combiner teams and no one was going to combine because we're in the stretch. We're in the home stretch of this
Right.
episode now.
No,
And
no,
nobody
no,
had
they're-
formed. Nobody had formed together. Nobody had merged. Or
No, the Stunticons are the scabs here, man. Constructicons
guess
are
so.
gone. They cross
they've got
picket
overtime.
lines.
Yeah, so they combined.
They would be too.
That was cool. Yeah.
But yeah, there's this whole like thing where the Bumblebee's like he releases the power into the sky and there's this whole whirlwind thing going on and there's lightning like electrocuting Stunticons and like they like, oh wait, hey, we can form Minosaur. Oh guys, we should do that. Our big claim to fame, we should probably do that too. So yeah, they form Minosaur and that and like Auggie just leaves. He's like, yeah, I'm out.
This dude takes off. He pulls the total anime rogue thing. He pulls the Han Solo. I'll see you guys later. I got my money. I'll see you guys later.
And for some reason, his car, the whole thing with the part of the MacGuffin of this thing was his car's engine was made of a super alloy that was supposed to like hold the power of the weather dominator core thing in it.
It was energy resistant.
Yeah,
That's what they said. So yeah, that was the yeah, like yeah. There
Yeah,
was a whole lot of MacGuffins going on. This was
yeah,
like
it was.
Like there was MacGuffins overlaying MacGuffins.
yeah, this was like the Jason Momoa Conan movie where every MacGuffin had like three MacGuffins on top of it.
Man, the
Another
Jason
movie.
Momoa Conan movie is one of those things that every once in a while I'll be like, no, that had to be good. Like he's perfect casting. It had to be good. And then you go back and it's like, no, it wasn't. It was
It wasn't
awful.
good. It
How did they
wasn't
mess
good.
this up?
I liked it, and then I watched it again, and like, this is bad. Like
Yeah.
you watch, exactly. You're like, I think I like that. And you watch it again, like, no, I didn't like that at all. I like things about it. I didn't like it.
I like that Jason Momoa is Conan. That's it. That's
It's a great
That was
Conan.
like, I thought that was gonna be cool.
Ron, what's his name is in it? Beast.
Ron Perlman.
Hellboy,
Oh,
Ron
yeah.
Perlman. Yeah.
Ron Perlman, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I don't know.
So Augie comes flying his car. He Han Solos back in. He comes the anime rogue. He comes flying. He drives his car off of a cliff and smashes Minosaur in the face.
Face.
Blows his face up. He blew his entire face up. This was cool. His whole face was on fire.
And he jumps out of the car. He's like, yeah, it's what I do, guys. I'm the best racer. And yeah, that whole attitude, it was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And that just in like the whole energy thing up in the cyclone. Bumblebee decides I'm going to go up in the cyclone and shoot this thing. That solves everything.
Besides, that's how this will work, and it does.
Yeah, essentially it does. Like, well, all right, let's use weapons. Yeah, and it fixes all the stuff. We're all happy now, and the end of the episode is the announcer like, we're waiting on the winners to come back for an interview, and of course that doesn't happen.
And then they
Also,
zoom out.
why
and
is
he's
this
there by
white
himself.
Clark Kent looking dude the announcer in Istanbul?
Man, I gotta make a confession. Every time I heard Istanbul in the episode, I did the whole like not Constantinople, like there might be giants. I kept every time I heard Istanbul, it went through my head like it was like a tick every time. So there I am.
I think everybody that's ever heard that song does that.
Yeah, it's
Like
a
I'm not
kick
even
ass.
a fan of. I don't even really care for They Might Be Giants, but
Yeah,
I do
they're all
that
right.
every time. It's fine. I like it's just it's not. I don't know. It's not my like. I didn't wear MC Escher shirts when I was in high school,
Neither did
so
I. God, no.
I didn't really jive with They Might Be
Right.
Giants. No, it's
No,
fine.
I was too
fine.
busy wearing polo shirts. Thanks for that reminder.
Oh, you were
One
wearing polo
time,
shirts?
some of my friends tried to make me feel bad by acting like they had went to a They Might Be Giant show and not invited me, and I no sold it. I acted like I couldn't even understand what they were talking about. Like they were speaking another language. I was really proud of Jahu that day.
Are you a fan of They Might Be? Are you a fan of They Might Be Giants?
Well, this would have been like 1989 or something like
oh
then.
Jesus.
That
Okay.
and they were in Pensacola, so I just went to see them.
They played here? I didn't know they played here.
The thing is, I don't think they did. I think these dudes make it up. I did like that debut tape they did.
It's fine. It's
Yeah.
it's fine. It's
The
it's
pink
just, I
one,
don't know.
I liked it. You know,
Actually, their kids albums are really good. They're really catchy.
I mean, they seem like they'd be great at making kids records.
They're
Yeah.
really good. I got it and I listened to it and like I listened to it. He didn't like it, and I liked it more than he did. But yeah, they're good music and they're catchy. Nothing wrong with it.
I like the Dead Milkmen. They have that same role for me. I think
Right. I could see,
I could see that.
how that's a one or the other.
they're clever, but they sound more like a band that I would want to listen to,
Right.
which is to say that they're real sloppy and
Right.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, and you watch Ghostbusters 2 first. I mean, you're not winning anything here.
Okay, let me tell you the story of why I saw Ghostbusters 2 before I saw Ghostbusters 1. Okay. So when I was a kid, my mom and dad split up when I was a baby. So I live half and half with my mom and my dad,
Mhm.
half in North Carolina, half in Alabama, and then Florida. So my dad could not care anything about any sort of pop culture. He every now and then he'll find a TV show. I think I said like, last episode or episode before that, he wrote me a letter talking about Knight Rider. And
That's
like,
right.
okay. Like, and, we went to the movies together. He liked James Bond, but he didn't really like love pop culture or music or whatever. He was, but my mom kind of the opposite. My mom loves music to this day. She's she still like goes to concerts, and she saw the Hoodoo Gurus like 2 weeks ago. I got to
Oh,
hang out
nice.
with them, and that was
All
very
right,
cool.
huh?
Yeah, it was very cool. They played a song for her too. That was very cool. But anyway, so my dad didn't have cable, didn't have a VCR, didn't have all this stuff, and my
Mm.
mom, we had a VCR, had cable and everything. So I would go and spend time with my dad, and then I'd come back and I'd be like, oh, because remember back in the 80s, it took a long time for something to come out on tape to rent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
It took forever for things to come out on tape. So it took like a year, like a minimum of a year for a VHS to come out, and then
Mm.
probably longer for it to come out on like cable TV, and then another year for it to come out on like network TV.
Right,
Yeah.
totally.
I remember when like Star Wars first came on TV, it was just like they're showing it on TV, guys. It's just
It was
coming
like
on.
8 years later or something.
Yeah,
Like,
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember them showing like that and like The Empire Strikes Back at the same time. So it had been that long since. But yeah. So
Wow.
anyway, yeah, I was just amazed that they were showing Star Wars on TV. But so I went to stay with my dad. I came back and I was like, oh hey, can my dad wouldn't take me to see Ghostbusters because it had bad words in it. And so fair enough, even though so I was the only kid that hadn't seen Ghostbusters. All my friends up there had seen Ghostbusters. Nobody had seen it. So I came back and I was like, hey mom, now that Ghostbusters is out for rent, can we rent Ghostbusters? And she was like, oh, we saw it while you were up at your dad's.
Oh,
I'm gonna rent it again.
oh,
And so I just never saw it. And it was a movie that wasn't on cable a whole lot.
right.
But then Ghostbusters 2 came out. And I don't know if you guys remember in 1989, but Ghostbusters 2 was on TV every day.
like TBS,
It was on
wasn't it?
HBO.
Yeah.
It was on what's that?
Eventually came on TBS all the time, that kind of stuff. It would just showed on
It
all
was
the channels.
when it came out, when it first came out on HBO, because remember back then things came on HBO first, and then they came out,
Right.
and then they filtered
Yeah,
down
yeah.
to it came on every day, and like you could not watch it. Like
Right.
you had to see it at some point, and you like even if you just saw it in bits and pieces, and so I saw it for years and years, and I was like, it's okay, it's good, but I didn't, it didn't make me want to go watch the first one, and so then at some point it just fell off the radar, and I know that everyone loves Ghostbusters now, and it's part of the cult, like the zeitgeist that it's the best comedy of all time, like that and Back
Yeah.
to the Future are the best comedies of all time, and so they're elevated to saint status and whatever, but there was a time where it was off the radar and nobody cared about it, and then eventually, like at work, people kept doing that thing you were doing earlier. Like, you've never seen Ghostbusters, blah, and flipping tables over and and all
Yeah.
this. And I can't believe you've never seen. And dude, you never saw Spinal Tap. Like, what, like I saw Spinal Tap. Like you've never seen Strange Brew. So finally, I think I was in my God, it must have been 2007. Like, yeah, it was like 2000. I was like 31, 32
I'm sure it did live up to the hype.
when I saw it. I was like, it was good, and it almost did, but it was good. But I mean, I don't know. It was, I like it. I own it. I've bought it like 3 times on various platforms, and like I like it a lot. But yeah, I just never seen. I've never seen Tron for the same reason. I've never seen Tron.
I
Seen
will,
Tron Legacy. I've seen
as an
Tron
act of
Legacy.
solidarity, I'll say this here. I have never seen Goonies.
I don't like Goonies.
Wow.
I've
I
never
love
watched it.
Warzone.
I never made a decision not to watch it. It just never worked out.
No.
You know?
It's one of those movies where like people loved it. They were quoting all the playground kind of stuff, and I watched it. And I'm like, I didn't get it. I
And-
still don't get it.
And here's how out of touch I am with it. The only thing I liked about it was Wolfman Has Nards, and that's a completely different movie.
That's from
Yeah.
Monsters.
Yep.
That's from the Stephen King Goonies.
Okay, before we get into
Do we even remember where we were in this episode?
Oh, we were done. We were done. We were done with the episode.
But before we
We're
get
done
too
with
much further in this,
Well, I will
say
say we missed one thing.
Oh, what do we
at the
miss?
end. Auggie Cahnay walking away and saying, "See you around, maybe." So he's a manic depressive, right? His manic episode was over, and he's going to binge on ice cream for 3 weeks straight.
he's cool. I want him in more episodes. I want him more than I want Spike in episodes.
I want to live in the alternate dimension where at this point they're just like nuts to Spike. We're going with Auggie.
Auggie and Blue Streak are buddies. It's like they're hanging out like Raoul and Trax. Auggie
Right.
and Blue Streak. Probably make Blue
That'd be
Streak a much
great.
better
That's
character.
like Transformer Speed Racer. I'd be all about it. So,
Oh God,
yeah.
yes.
All
But
right. Well, I guess let's.
before we get there too,
Oh, we're
I
gonna.
gotta say
Okay.
I meant to bring this up earlier. The geography in this episode. Did you look at the maps at all? Did you stop and like pause on the maps?
I was going to, but I was working when I was watching this, so I didn't.
The
I couldn't.
maps, I could have probably drawn this when I was in third grade because there's like Spain's kind of down here, France is here, but there's no line at the top of France, so France kind of goes off somewhere. Instead of there's no English channel, it just kind of goes. Bleh, there's all France is up here too. Germany, by the way, was already united in this map. There was no East-West Germany. It was Germany.
Oh, good.
Future.
Oh.
Czech
They saw the
Republic.
future.
Yeah, the Czech Republic split off already, but it wouldn't say Czechoslovakia. It just said CZECH. So Czech. That's all it was. And it was like Hungary. Dude, a third grader did this. Albania is like written outside the lines and stuff. It's
Nice,
amazing.
nice.
Oh, in Yugoslavia, it's like they try to write real small, then the O got too big, and they try to fit it on before the line. It's amazing. And but I love how France is like all of the Norse countries and all of the water up there. It's just that's all France.
Yeah.
Yeah, just whatever.
It definitely looked more like a map of Westeros than like a map of actual Europe.
It was just the
Oh,
best
man.
line. They had the Indiana Jones line through Europe to get.
Right.
I'm a fan of that device. That's a
Yeah.
fun storytelling.
That's a great plot device. I'll never
Oh,
knock it.
Right.
so good. They did it twice in the episode, so you saw the map twice, so you can see where they had gotten to already in the episode, which with the same map drawn this by the same 8-year-old. So good.
All right, so we got
Anyway,
reviews. I guess that's it.
yeah.
Well, this was fun. So we got two sets of combiners. Only one of them got to combine. We got a race. Races are cool. Races.
are
I've said this
fun.
before. Races are cool, and they have a lot of mystique. Especially in the '80s. That's a spy thing. It's cool guys race cars. So I like that. I liked Auggie. I thought Auggie was cool. So Adult Brain is gonna award this one 4 Skittles thrown at my face out of 5. Kid Brain would have liked this one a lot too, especially if it was a case where I had a lot of Transformers, like, and then I could have put them all in car mode and like lined to race up. Because my son was really big into the movie cars for a while, so he's got like a bazillion like cars, like the Hot Wheels scale cars. So we used to line those guys up and just have, and we be the announcers and call them out and then have like races around the rug, because the rug always has like a border, so that makes a natural racetrack. So I would have liked that to do that a lot when I was a kid with Autobots, and that would have been a lot of fun. So yeah, no, I liked it. I don't think there was a lot of bad in this one at all. So Kid Brain will go 4, and I cannot believe it's taking me this long to make this joke. 4 Kraftwerk Men's Machines Das Models Trans Europe Expresses out of 5. I cannot believe that I waited all the way through Trans Europe Express to make a Kraftwerk joke, one of my favorite bands of all time. So there it is. I avoid the low hanging fruit and save it till the end. Where are you guys at?
Man, as I said, this is my favorite episode of this. I think you can tell because unlike all the other ones that I've talked about on this, usually what I liked about it is some associated memory.
Mhm.
This, I just like this episode. I think this is a fun 22 minutes of television. Kid Brain and Adult Brain are totally aligned on this. So we're going to give it 5 of my favorite quote in this, which was how Trax described the Pearl of Bahudin when he saw it, which was something the Easter Bunny brought you.
Oh man.
Oh.
Yes. Evan, where you at?
Yeah, man. So I watched this a couple weeks ago because we took a little break in between the episodes,
My
and
bad.
I watched it and thinking like, You know, it is cool. It's just like a racing episode. Then I watched it again today because I'm like, I need a refresher. And I watched it like, man, I realized the beauty of Auggie Cahnay and the ridiculousness of this MacGuffin. And man, as soon as the guy in the mosque was like, be careful, you once you gain it, you can't get rid of it, or whatever he said. It
Yeah,
was like
right.
it was that whole like I said, it was the guy who gave Frank the Le Marchand configuration in Hellraiser. I'm like, I like this. This is really good. This is like a
Right.
whole Raiders of the Lost Ark Indiana Jones movie. This is so, immediately it got so much cooler to me. And so yeah, man. Even like it's one of those weird things when you remember stuff when you're a kid and then you rewatch it later. I like the Stunticons so much more than I did as a kid. They're great. I can't get enough of them right now. So man, I will definitely I'm giving this like 4.5 union jobbers who leave the show halfway through it out of 5 because I love it, man. The Constructicons did their job. They're gone. They're done. So yeah, totally fun episode. And I want to say on this, when we get to it, I'm excited to get to it because I'm one of those person who likes watching people's reactions on YouTube. But when we get to the 1986 movie,
Right.
I want to do a like live stream, have people on a live stream and like talk about it as we're watching because I want to hear Ed's impressions of it.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I
Yeah.
would love that.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm watching like Gen Zers and like I don't know Gen Alphas people watching this movie and like how much they love it. And I'm like, oh, this is great. It holds up really well. I love it already. So I mean,
But,
I'm
Yeah.
extremely biased.
well, I just
Okay.
can't wait for Ed to hear the soundtrack.
Oh my
I'm
God,
positive you're going to love
yes.
the soundtrack.
It
As a tie-in to
rips.
something else I was going to bring up is I have a friend that it specifically requested for us to do an episode because I said when we do that we do the movie it's probably going to be like a 3 episode thing where we're probably gonna have to split it up because I
Right.
know people want to be on to talk about it and there's a lot to going on there but my friend Roy
I
uh,
know, Roy.
yeah, you know Roy, yeah. So
Yeah.
Roy specifically requested to do that we should do an episode just about the music, and he wanted to be on that one, and which ties into Roy is also a podcaster, and I was on Roy's show 2 weeks ago. So
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
so I was on
What was it
Necro
called?
Macho Entertainments. Um, it's a kind of a tongue-in-cheek podcast about the board game or the miniatures game Necromunda. It's a Warhammer tie-in. He's a massive fan of it and runs our local community. And it was a good time. And I got to delve into my tabletop gaming origin story in that a little
Oh,
bit. So,
nice.
yeah, if
Yeah,
you
what
have
was the name of the what was the name of it again? Just saying clearly.
Necro Macho Entertainment.
Nah, that's nice.
Yes. Yes. And because they have like they actually edit their show. Unlike us who just put up a raw feed. They edit like bumpers into their show and they have like little comedy segments and stuff. And so Necro Macho is a character they created for the thing. And he's basically one of them doing a Macho Man Randy Savage impersonation, but set in Warhammer.
Nice.
So it's pretty funny.
Now,
Man,
to
Ed,
my
like a decade ago, me and you talked about starting a surf guitar band,
Yes.
and we did one practice and never did it again. I think if we would have had the name Necro Mancho for it,
Well, no, okay,
it'd
that
still be
practice.
going.
Well, no, that actually was to get more off track. That was the prosthetics reunion that we were supposed to that we were
Right,
going
that's right.
for,
We were
yeah.
going to be with Jamie Newman. That's right.
Yeah, and that would have been real
Yeah,
cool.
we got together to practice without Jamie's songs.
Yeah, which was real weird. I didn't
It was
understand
very
that. So,
strange.
yeah. So anyway, yeah. So all right, it was a
to
good time.
to give a little like to a response to what you said. I mean, honestly, I think we're all killer no filler. So what do I need to like edit this stuff, man?
Right.
Come on.
No, I mean they like when I was on the show, they like we do our show to pull the curtain back, like we do our show like over Zoom and
Mhm.
we have whatever mics we have laying around. They had like a mixer
Oh,
and
I want that.
like nice Jahu, what are the Shure 95? Is that what they are? The nice like mics you use when you're actually in a band?
Oh man, I've never known a thing about mics. I
Okay.
should, because I've
You
been
know
in
what I'm
bands
talking about.
for
Like
30 years. But yeah, I know exactly what you're
the
talking
mic,
about.
when you think
Yeah.
of a microphone,
Yeah.
it's a Shure. I think it's a like an M95 or something like
Right.
that. Yeah, they had like those with like boom stands and all
My
this stuff.
God, do they
And
have a sponsor?
no, they don't. No, they don't have a sponsor.
If you want
They have
sponsors,
fake
let us
sponsors.
know.
They have fake sponsors. They have Necro Macho Nachos as a fake sponsor that they do, and
I buy those.
it's a bumper that they edit in. It has sound effects and all this stuff. It's crazy. They have a fake Warhammer version of Alex Jones in it that they edited little skits of him, and it's hilarious. And
I guess I'm just gonna yeah, I guess this ends here. I don't have fancy bumpers and like special sponsors and nice big microphones. Actually, I've been looking at mixed boards for a while. I'm kind of wanting to pull the trigger on one just to be able to control that. I want
yeah,
more control.
yeah.
The one time I actually downloaded an equalizer and I put the episode up, it was like because I didn't realize how much
I remember that. I remember
like,
that.
whoop,
Yes.
we're not doing this. Yeah, so
Well,
I'm been scared to do it ever since because it sounded good on the computer, but not online.
I assumed you had a mixer, so I apologize for talking so loud.
No,
I
it's
figured you
raw,
would just turn
baby.
me down in the edit.
It's all raw.
All right. All right. Well, cool. So I guess that's it. That's
Yeah,
all I got.
that is Trans Europe Express, guys. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. Give us a thumbs up, a 5-star rating. Go check out Real Phonies, also Jahu's podcast he does with two other friends who talk about movies and anime and stuff in their lives. Check that out. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube if you wouldn't mind, if you're here this long. And thanks for being here. We will see you next week.
Roll out.
All right, thank you, man. Morethanmeetstheseguys is performed by Evan Johns and Ed Strickland. Research is performed by Evan Johns, Ed Strickland, and with special research done by Boo of the AxelonUnderground.net. All used images in the videos are property of Sunbow, Hasbro, Paramount, or Marvel. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in every week with us. We appreciate it.